Hey everybody, it's John Moncrief, founder of the Freedom Experience. Today I want to talk to you about a trap that a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners fall into, and that's broadening their product and service offering to a small group of really great clients. And the problem with this is that the broader you go, the person with the most industry knowledge and the ability to deliver these services is you. So what ends up happening is that you get yourself caught up in this mile-wide trap and you don't have time to do the other things that you need to be doing in your business. So let me talk you through an example of this, right? Let's say you start a PR agency and you land your first big client. A client comes to you and says, what I'd like you to do is to do the PR for a number of regional events. You do a fantastic job. Client comes back to you and says, really impressed with the work you've done. Can you take on our annual sales conference and do the PR around our annual sales conference? And of course, you jump at the opportunity. You're starting to build up a small team. Your business is growing. You've probably taken on a few other accounts, and you deliver again. And the client is really happy with the creativity you've shown, with your innovative thinking. So they ask you if you can get involved in some of their advertising campaigns. Now keep in mind, you started a PR agency, not an ad agency. But you feel like there's enough of a fit here. You've got some folks on the team who've got a bit of skill from the advertising industry. So you take on the work. I mean, you're a great client. You don't want to say no. You take on the work, and again, you deliver on your promise, and the client is wowed by how well you've done. And this is where they come to you and they say, love what you've done. Can you help us with a website? Now, nobody on your team has any web design experience. Again, you started a PR firm, but you've had some web design experience, and maybe you've worked on your own website or other customers' websites. So you decide to take on the work. You don't want to say no to this great customer. You take on the work, and you're the one who's now executing on this job instead of the rest of your team. What's happening is you feel like your business is getting busier, and it is. And your profit, you probably have more profit as well. But then you take a look at the profit and loss statement, and you see that month on month, your sales aren't growing anymore. You flatlined. And the next month you see the same thing, and the month after you see the same thing. And what's essentially happening is that you're running out of time. You just don't have enough hours in the day to do any more business development. So you become highly reliant on the small group of clients. And this is what's effectively known as the mile-wide trap. You're going much broader, much wider, but only an inch deep. And your team just doesn't have the skills to do the work. Now, these are great clients. You don't want to turn them down, so you just keep broadening the list of service and products that you offer. But of course, before you know it, you're a mile wide and an inch deep. And as your revenue's gone up, so too have your expenses. And here's the other problem. You're now reliant on the small group of clients to keep the lights on, so to speak, to keep generating that same amount of revenue, because with no hours left in the day, your company simply stalls, and you almost find yourself caught up like a hamster on a wheel. You keep going to keep trying to get the same amount of business out of those clients. So the solution, simple: sell less stuff to more people. Instead of selling more things to that small group of clients, what you want to be doing is you want to find yourself concentrating on selling a few things to a huge amount of clients. And most design firms are really guilty of this. Most design firms, creative types, sort of fall into the trouble of offering a very broad range of products and services. So you start out and you're designing websites. Next thing you know, you're working on advertising campaigns, then you're creating or optimizing SEO, and then your client comes to you and says, can you help with the marketing automation? So you get involved in marketing automation and crafting emails, and then you get involved in doing some PR, and the list goes on and on and on. In contrast, a company like Ethos3, and whose founder Scott Schwertley knew that if he did this kind of thing, if he kept broadening and broadening and broadening, he would never be able to scale the business beyond him. He'd always be tied up, trapped in the business. So what he did was he focused on a very niche area in the design space. Something that as an entrepreneur or business owner, you wouldn't naturally think, oh, there's a good business to make there. And that's presentations. So basically, Scott and his team focus on building the most amazing presentation for some very big brands. Now, the key here is that because they're so focused on this niche, everything is standardized. From the proposal through to the project management, through to the invoice. Scott's whole team knows exactly what needs to be done and when it needs to be done and how to do it. And Scott doesn't need to be involved. And because of that, they count customers like Google, eBay, Nike, among their 300 plus other customers. And Ethos3 has done an amazing job of scaling the business, or Scott's done an amazing job of scaling the business without needing to be involved all the time himself. Another example is Flickly.com. Flickly is in the video production business. They do video animation. So now, unlike the typical video production companies where you're kind of doing everything from animation to this kind of video or case studies or whatever it is, Flickly concentrates on animated explainer videos that explain the value proposition of a company in, I think, 2 minutes. So very, very focused on their niche. And their focus on creating a very specific product, in this case, these explainer videos, ensures that the team knows exactly what they need to do. They, just like Scott's business, they know how to put together a proposal, how to run the project, how to deliver the invoice. And the business essentially runs itself. So it's very easy to fall into this mile wide trap, but to get out of it and to scale your business, look at the examples that have been set by companies like Ethos3 and Flickly.com, where their whole focus is around selling a lot of things, a lot of products and services to where their whole focus is selling very few things, a niche, essentially, to a large amount of companies or customers. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it added value. Put your comments down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. And don't forget to subscribe.